Good afternoon, and welcome to our 87th commencement, celebrating the achievements of the class of 2011. We begin with our national anthem, sung by Professors Carrie Bricker, Clark Kelso, Jay Leach, and Paul Payton, and former Assistant Dean John McIntyre. Please stand and remain standing for the invocation to follow by Minister Tricial Tisdale.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
While you're still standing, please join me in prayer. We invite into this diploma hooding and commencement ceremony. Heavenly Father, we give thanks for our deepest and heartfelt thanks for your many blessings for this graduating class. We are grateful for the determination, passion, and the heart that these graduates had to pursue this day. We salute and celebrate their journey as they reminisce and reflect back over their past years, the exams, the deadlines, and as they engaged in professional and personal relationships. We remember to give thanks for this awesome and glorious experience. We honor the proud families and friends near and far who contributed to their success. We appreciate each one of you in confidence and faithfulness. We are grateful to the University of the Pacific McGeorge School of Law, professors, faculty, staff, and mentors who dedicated their lives and impart and enlighten knowledge within each student. Today, our hearts are fulfilled with thanksgiving, recognizing that this is a time of transition for good beginnings and better endings. I ask for guidance as they press forward, that they remember to maintain a loving heart and never stop striving to reach their goals. It is declared that with insight and judgment, their role and responsibility, they have the power to change the world for the good, making difference in years to come. We invoke your spirit of love, life, peace, and joy. We call upon you to bless and protect them. In your name, amen.
Thank you, Minister Tisdale. With pleasure, I now introduce our platform party, and I ask those introduced to rise and remain standing until all introductions are complete, and I'd ask the audience, please, to hold applause until all are introduced. First, our university regents, Hayne R. Mueller, Judge Morrison C. England Jr., Judge Consuelo M. Callahan. Next, our senior university leadership, Dr. Pamela A. Ibeck, University President, Dr. Maria Pallavicini, University Provost, Patrick Kavanaugh, University Vice President for Finance, and University faculty member Dr. Jace Hargis, Associate Provost for Teaching and Learning. Next, our commencement speaker, Federal Judge Kimberly J. Mueller. And finally, two very special guests, Dean Lawrence Hellman, Oklahoma City University School of Law, but today, most importantly, father of Max Hellman, class of 2011, and Dean Thomas Guernsey, President and Dean, Albany Law School, and also, most importantly, father today of Adam Guernsey, class of 2011. Last, our law school representatives, Scott M. Hervey, Vice President of the McGeorge School of Law Alumni Association, and the most important people on our platform, our distinguished faculty, each individually identified in your program. I invite them to stand too for well-deserved recognition. After all, they share this day of celebration with our graduates, but for their efforts, this day would not be possible. Please join me in recognizing our platform party. This year's commencement speaker is a longtime Pacific McGeorge friend. Last fall, while teaching federal courts at the law school, her nomination by President Obama as the first woman federal district court judge in the Eastern District of California was confirmed by the United States Senate. It's a special honor, then, to congratulate her now and welcome Judge Kimberly J. Mueller as our commencement speaker. It also gives me the chance to thank her for her exceptional service to Pacific McGeorge as an adjunct professor, as a mentor to student externs while serving as magistrate judge, and for her tireless participation in campus events, whether our Final Four competitions or swearing-in ceremonies for our graduates. Judge Mueller has a bachelor's degree from Pomona College and her Juris Doctorate from Stanford Law School, which she earned after serving as an elected member of the Sacramento City Council. Following graduation from law school, Judge Mueller practiced law with Orrick, Harrington, and Sutcliffe, and then her own firm, focusing on intellectual property. In 2003, she was appointed a magistrate judge of the Sacramento Division for the Eastern District of California. She was sworn into her current lifetime appointment as a federal district court judge for the Eastern District of California in a festive celebration this past March 11. It's a great pleasure to introduce Judge Mueller. I can think of no one whose public service provides a better role model for our graduates than Judge Mueller. Judge Mueller?
Thank you, Dean Parker, and congratulations to all of you, graduates, parents, President Ibeck, deans, professors, family, and friends on this joyous and blustery spring day. I remember when I finished law school, the only thing I was thinking about then was passing the bar. I know most of you here in the front rows will spend the next several months thinking about that too. But before the bar review courses start next week, it's important to take at least one day, today, to reflect on what walking across this stage really means. You're right, it's a short period of time. But in that short period of time, hopefully you can pack in all the celebration you deserve, given what you've accomplished. You are crossing this stage today in amazingly challenging, heartrending, stimulating, demanding, and interesting times. Virtually every moment, it seems, we are bombarded with news flurries, carrying bits and bytes of joy and sadness, hope and desperation, trivia and profundity, success and failure, assaulting our senses with contradictory missives and morals. Japanese nuclear plants are shuttered as U.S. employment figures start to climb. Kate and William are thriving. Arnold and Maria have separated. The Mississippi is flooding and still flooding, but Texas ranges are parched. The buds bursting open during the Arab Spring struggle to survive in the face of withering displays of raw power. The stunning report of bin Laden's apprehension is still stunning, but is also, in a sense, already old news. Did I say I'm very glad the future is in your hands? There is a Los Angeles band, Ozo Motley, that plays an incredibly energetic mix of Latin, funk, hip-hop, merengue, marching band music. Ozo Motley has an album with a title that suggests one way of dealing with it all: embrace the chaos. I have tried to imagine what you are thinking and how you are feeling about your law degrees in these most demanding and chaotic of times. I've thought about my many judicial externs from Pacific McGeorge, the students in my federal courts classes, and those of you who've competed in those trial advocacy and ethics competitions I've helped judge. Rather than merely speculate, I've talked with several of you that are here today in your caps and gowns, about to grab onto that brass ring in the shape of a parchment rectangle. Given the economic doldrums that have drained the wind from a lot of sails, the shrinking law firm markets, and the deep and deepening cuts in public budgets, I expected to hear tales of woe, if not outright regret, about pursuing a legal career. But no, those of you I've spoken with have conveyed optimism and pride and hopeful expectation, even in the face of future uncertainty. You have given me hope, and I am so impressed. This too makes me glad the future is in your hands. You have told me you feel empowered by your law degrees. You have improved your public speaking skills and developed a new confidence you did not have before. Your experiences in the classroom or in trial ad or one of Pacific McGeorge's many excellent clinical programs have confirmed your reasons for wanting to become lawyers in the first place. You feel useful. You point out that every time any one of us turns around, we're bumping up against some kind of law. Now, issues both big and small are accessible to you in a way they weren't before. You can help a friend with a parking ticket. You can prosecute, or more seriously, you can prosecute or defend criminal charges. Maybe you can help identify the laws we don't need anymore. You can stand up for and vindicate someone's civil rights. Given Pacific McGeorge's far-reaching international programs, you might have a role in nurturing the seedlings of that Arab Spring into a productive summer on their way to a good harvest. As one of you observed, everyone today needs some kind of higher degree to do well in this world, but not everyone has the chance to earn such a degree. Now that you will have your law degree, you can not only do well, but do good, as our invocator said, and make a difference for others less well-equipped. I hope and trust that all of you have these same kinds of positive feelings in one form or another. Certainly, as one would expect from a group of well-trained future lawyers, you are not merely embracing the chaos, you are making your own kind of order out of the chaos the world is handing you. Given how well prepared you are, what more can I possibly do to mark this send-off, apart from being mercifully brief? I know that's a part of my charge. All I can think of is to share 3 well-polished stones from my own pocket that have stood me in good stead. The first stone has chiseled into it the words, "Hold out for good work, work that inspires and motivates you." Twice in my own life, during key transitions, I've waited for the right job to come along. At one point, right after college, I picked tomatoes and cantaloupe to pay the bills. In a later transition, I served an unpaid internship to bide the time. Seek work that will draw you to it, that you will approach daily with a whistle on your lips. It will take much more hard work to finish becoming the great lawyer that resides within each of you. The way to sustain the required effort is to find work you love. And remember, that work may not be your first choice. It is no secret that when Sandra Day O'Connor graduated 3rd in her law school class, she was not offered her preferred work at a law firm, and so she accepted a public sector job as a deputy county attorney. Who knows where a second or third choice of jobs might lead you? The second stone reads simply, listen. The amount and range of information we are expected to absorb these days can make it difficult to listen, but there is great power in listening and listening well. I would never have considered running for office or seeking a judgeship on my own because I was destined to teach, or so I thought. But I happened to be listening when someone suggested I could be a city council member and later a judge. And who knew? That unexpected advice set me on a path to become a federal district judge and the first woman district judge in the Eastern District of California. Maybe someday. Thank you. What I want to say to you about that is that maybe someday you will be pinching yourself at being given such an unbelievable, incredibly humbling honor. Ogden Nash, America's laureate of light verse, created an indelible image in his poem titled Listen, which ends with these lines: "We'd free the incarcerate race of man, could only you unlock my skull or I creep into yours." In my current job, there have been many times when it was clear to me that all a particular litigant wanted was to be listened to have her skull unlocked. As Pacific McGeorge professor Colatrella has helped me understand, the longer someone goes without being listened to and acknowledged, the more determined that person may be to litigate to the hilt. If litigation does go all the way to trial, what is one of the brilliant features of our legal system but a jury of one's peers to listen to all of the testimony, consider all of the evidence, and render a fair and impartial verdict? If you do not listen carefully to what a client is telling you, you will not be able to represent that client well at any stage of an engagement. If you do not listen well to opposing counsel, you may miss opportunities to narrow your disputes or settle a case favorably. If you do not listen well to the judge, well, you are hereby warned, the judge has recourse. Regardless of who is doing the talking, listening well may require taking the extra time to fully understand the meaning of words uttered by someone from a different culture or country, of a different gender or ethnicity, or born into a different economic class. Do not underestimate how much time it can take to perfect the job of listening. There is a poignant story of a little Hmong girl from Merced, Leah Lee, who inspired the book. You may have read it. The Spirit catches you and you fall down. Elite educated, dedicated, and well-meaning doctors misdiagnosed Leah originally with pneumonia, when in fact she had severe epilepsy. It was not a part of the doctor's script to ask her parents what they thought was wrong. Even if the doctors had asked all the right questions, Hmong translators were not readily available every time Leah Lee came to the emergency room. Once the doctors got the diagnosis right, they prescribed the best Western medicine, which her parents administered in the way that made sense to them. Ultimately, Leah Lee suffered from sepsis and entered a persistent vegetative state. Her parents and family continued to give her the most amazing care, hoping against hope that her soul would return. It is impossible to know if more listening would have made a difference in Leah Lee's treatment plan. It undoubtedly would have altered the quality of her family's interaction with the medical establishment. Similarly, even if a person cannot obtain all he or she would like from the law and the legal system, it is still possible for that person to have an experience of being listened to and respected within the system. The quality of human interactions in any system can make a big difference. In ours, it can enhance access to justice and equal justice under the law. Finally, that third stone in my pocket instructs, share what you know. Put another way, be an ambassador for the law and our legal system in all of your interactions. As much as others without law degrees and bar cards will need you, all of us on this side of the bar need everyone else to understand what it is we do and why. We need our communities here at home and across the land starting with our parents and friends here today, to respect the law, to have faith in the rule of law, and to believe that the rule of law is in fact the rule of law that is just. As Justice O'Connor recently has lamented, 2/3 of Americans cannot correctly identify the three branches of government. A basic understanding and appreciation of what the third branch is and how lawyers and judges operate within that branch is essential to our effectiveness as a pillar of our constitutional democracy. Without understanding and appreciation, there can be no real respect. And it is respect that has girded us in the face of controversy. It is respect that has secured acceptance of and obedience to mere words spoken in an open courtroom or issued as a written order without any show of force. It is respect that has allowed the courts, responding to important issues identified by lawyers and their clients, to play our critical role in the dynamic system of checks and balances forged by our founders quite some time ago. Because the future is in your hands, you now inherit the important task of maintaining and endlessly renewing the respect a system founded on the rule of law, the rule of just law, deserves, not just as a matter of self-preservation, but in order to preserve a strong and resilient system that has stood the test of time and facilitated the growth and overall prosperity of an increasingly diverse and numerous population residing together in relative peace. I know you are up to the task, and that especially is why I am so very glad the future is in your hands. Congratulations and Godspeed. May that blustery wind outside always be at your backs. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Judge Mueller. It's now my pleasure to introduce Pacific's president, Dr. Pamela A. Ibeck, who will convey her personal congratulations to the class of 2011. Dr. Ibeck is the 24th president of the University of the Pacific. Under her leadership, Pacific is enhancing its academic programs and student services, strengthening connections between its three cities, and serving its communities through partnerships at the local, national, and global levels. Her presidency follows a distinguished as a researcher, a teacher, an educational reformer, and a university administrator. President Ibeck earned her bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees in mechanical engineering at Stanford University. A fellow of the American Society of Mechanical Engineers, she's also received the Distinguished Engineering Educator Award from the Society of Women Engineers. President Ibeck is deeply committed to Pacific students, faculty, and staff, and her enthusiasm for the university is clear to all who have worked with her. She's a driving force in moving Pacific to new stages of excellence. Please join me in welcoming President Pam Ibeck.
Congratulations, graduates. Congratulations, friends and family. The day you have been waiting for has finally arrived. A thank you to our distinguished Board of Regents, our excellent Dean, Elizabeth Parker, and her team, and our inspiring speaker, Judge Mueller of the U.S. District Court for Eastern California. Today, I am delighted to celebrate the accomplishments of the class of 2011. You have worked tremendously hard, and I am proud to call you graduates of University of the Pacific. You have studied at the Pacific McGeorge School of Law through some extraordinary years. We have witnessed many challenges: deadly natural disasters in Chile, Haiti, and Japan, a financial crisis that threatened to collapse the global economy, and a budget crisis in California that continues on. But we have also experienced amazing moments. During your time at Pacific, alumnus and regent Jose Hernandez launched into space aboard the Space Shuttle Discovery. Citizens in the Arab world mounted massive protests and overthrew 2 dictators in their pursuit of greater freedom. And just 2 weeks ago, justice was served to Osama bin Laden. Today's world is complex, and it's fast-paced and it's dynamic. It demands critical minds, ethical hearts, and a willingness to work together. Fortunately, the education that you received at Pacific McGeorge has prepared you to thrive in this world and to make a positive difference. Together with the School of Education, for example, you have built a powerful legal pipeline program at Natomas Pacific Pathways Prep. It will inspire future lawyers and educate our young people in the practice of law. Just last week, news came that Natomas Prep, which is also known as NP3, is going to be honored as a California Distinguished School by the California Department of Education, the only high school in Sacramento County to win this honor. You and your alumni have played a critical role in establishing NP3's culture of excellence. And you did it despite the challenges our schools are facing. Well done. You are also making a difference as individuals. Take Keir Wilkinson. A wartime visit to the Balkans convinced him to make a difference, and he has, by volunteering at the Marin AIDS Project and the Sacramento Food Bank and actively promoting McGeorge's pro bono activities. Take Heather Thomas, deeply engaged with the community, whether she's on the Pro Bono Project's Alternative Spring Break, mentoring an 8th grader at Natomas Prep, or playing violin for the residents of a nursing home. Or take Fatima Iqbal, working hard for social justice and economic independence for women in Pakistan. Aren't they amazing young people? By choosing the legal profession, all of you demonstrate your commitment to justice, fairness, and service. I applaud this commitment, and I urge you to continue. How will you take what you've learned at Pacific and use it to make the world a better place? How can you, with your intelligence, your strength, your education, and your good fortune, how can you make a difference? From here on out, the world you get will be the one you make, and I know you will make it better. So graduates, go forth, do well, but most importantly, do good. Congratulations.
Thank you, President Ibeck. The graduating class has selected 3 speakers, 1 each from the Juris Doctor's Day Division and Evening Division, and 1 from our Graduate Masters in Law program. Representing the Day Division is Robert Sweetin, a graduate of Brigham Young University. As this year's Student Bar Association president, he led an expansion of campus student activities, nonetheless working 20 hours a week in the misdemeanor unit of the U.S. Attorney's Office. Mr. Sweetin.
All right, fellow graduates, family members, members of the university community, over the past few weeks, there are a lot of topics that came to mind when thinking about what might be suitable for an occasion such as this. The wide open future before us, rediscovering the enthusiasm we all brought to law school, or where Professor Slocum gets his sport coats and ties. It's a big day, a huge day, really. Despite the gravity of this occasion and the anticipation leading up to it, over time, we'll likely forget most of what was said here today. We'll probably forget most of the exams that we took or how stressed we were about getting the right job after graduation. But there are things we won't forget. We probably won't forget what it was like to be studying like mad our first few weeks of law school, taking hours to get through just a dozen pages while we tore our hair out at the sound of our neighbors cheering on Michael Phelps as he won 8 gold medals. In retrospect, I probably should have just watched the races. While I vividly remember hearing my wife's Courtney's shouts of excitement, I can't remember for the life of me what I was working so hard on or studying at that time. I won't forget how it felt the third day of civil procedure when Whitney McBride was called on to recite International Shoe. Or what it was like to watch her get every question correct over the next 90 minutes as my palms grew increasingly sweatier and I realized what I was up against. I won't forget watching Marcus Arneson and John Powell struggle in vain to figure out what the F Professor Vitello wanted to know about Delaware. I think most of us still don't know. I won't forget the time that I put $4 into a pool before class, betting on who would get called on, and that Ming Wei and I split the award $18 apiece. Although I do forget which poor, stressed-out student we won at the expense of. There's more than that. I won't bore you by going on and continuing. But if there's one thing, and the point is, if there's one thing I'm going to remember about McGeorge, it's the people. It's the confidence, the enthusiasm, the excitement, the obsessive compulsivism, and humor that this class embodies so well. I want to share a quote with you by Theodore Roosevelt. I'm sure many of you have heard it, and I think it applies to any situation. But it is especially fitting for our class on this occasion today. He said, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of the deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes up short again and again, but who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself for a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement." I'd like to take a moment and recognize that this today, is, as Judge Mueller said, is one of those high achievements. We all have the blood, sweat, and dust on our faces of the past 3 years. Figuratively speaking, of course. Most of you look very nice today. Jamie Samut, questionable as always. But today we enjoy the triumph of having spent ourselves in a worthy cause. When those moments of extreme difficulty arose, we faced them, and we overcame them. Sometimes we just barely made it. Other times it was with the most unexpected success. Despite our varied achievements, today we all graduate. It'd be nice if President Roosevelt's quote ended there, and we could rest assured our success today would continue indefinitely. It'd be nice if we could each be sure that as long as we worked hard enough, we'll come out on top. It'd be nice if I could end my speech here and say something philosophically deep like, "May your hats fly as high as your dreams," and we could all head out of here without our graduation caps into the sunset toward our new successful lives. But I think law school has taught us all better. Sometimes, no matter how hard we try, no matter how badly we want something or seek after it, it doesn't work out. Indeed, sometimes the price of doing something difficult is failure. We've all experienced it in one form or another. Soliciting for a journal we weren't accepted to, trying out for an advocacy team we didn't make, applying for a job we didn't get. These were not our highest moments. They were not the moments we imagined for ourselves, but they remain. Of these situations, of the person who tries but does not succeed, President Roosevelt continues on to say, "At the worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat." We all dared greatly by going to law school in the first place, nervously accumulating the student debt, and putting ourselves and our pride on the line in front of classmates and professors. In 2 months, many of us will dare once again, taking the hardest bar exam in the country. It'd be awesome if we all passed. Who knows, if you ask Di Naccarato, we all will. But perhaps we won't. It's at those times the words of President Roosevelt are especially poignant and meaningful. One of the most important things law school has taught us is how to fail gracefully and then keep at it. We've seen students who sunk low in their chairs after being defeated by the Socratic method go on to litigate in court with incredible ease and grace through our various law clerk programs. We've seen others crash and burn on the first day of trial advocacy, palms sweating, hands shaking, voice cracking, only to receive honors or an A+ after putting on a masterful full-day trial at the end of the semester. We now find ourselves entering a legal field that is rapidly changing and adapting to both new technologies and the global economy. And while we are graduating into economic uncertainty and a tumultuous job market, this is a class full of those courageous and determined souls that President Roosevelt was talking about. With countless reasons to be afraid of what is waiting for us after we exit this auditorium today, I do not fear the future in the least. I am not afraid of it because I've spent the last 3 years working alongside the people who will be taking charge of it. The people who know how to confront the toughest challenges and tasks head on. The people who get up after failure, dust themselves off time and time again, and keep at it until they get the job done. You are the people who know that the hope for success and greatness far outweighs the risk of defeat or even defeat itself. It is not the way I've seen you succeed over the last 3 years that gives me such confidence, but rather the way I've seen you rebound from shortcomings and then go on to succeed. That is what the world we are entering into demands of us. And if any class is worthy of those challenges and the problems to be solved and the great successes to be had over the coming decades, it is this one. Thank you, everyone, for the last 3 years. Best of luck to you all, and congratulations once again, class of 2011.
Thank you, Bob. Representing the evening division is Stephen Hansen, a graduate of Gonzaga University and a senior manager of Genentech's State Government Affairs Office. A community activist, Steve is a board member of so many nonprofit organizations in the area, I dare not mention them all. Mr. Hansen.
Thank you, everyone. It's really an honor to stand here on behalf of my class, the Evening Division, class of 2011. Thank you for this opportunity to share some reflections and thoughts with you today. This is really your speech, not my speech. Also, we would be remiss not to take this opportunity to thank the faculty and staff of the school. They have dedicated themselves to our success, and their service to ensuring the legal profession is open to all who have the merit and tenacity to walk across this stage is something truly remarkable. Thank you for being mentors to us and teaching us how to be scholars. President Ibeck recently had a big challenge land on her lap. And she's well aware of what I'm talking about, and I think you all are too. Dean Parker recently announced she would be stepping down at the end of next year. And I have to say that under her leadership, McGeorge has prospered and the student body has thrived in a way that the school never knew before. It is a tall task to replace her, and I want you to join me in thanking Dean Parker and her husband Bob for their service to McGeorge today. Now, Judge Mueller, why again was it a good idea to go to law school after having such a good career and a full life? It's a little late for that, but I have a question for you afterwards. But what I do know is that some of these folks out here will be joining you on the bench of tomorrow where we trade these robes for your robes, judicial ones, and joining the other members of the bench who sit here with us tonight. Someone once said, the greatest achievements were at first and for a time dreams. This is your achievement, graduates. These were your dreams come true today. All of us here are assembled here are proud of you, but let's also be proud of each other for our caliber, because we've toiled together in the fields of books where ideas got planted, and then nourished by those same dreams so we could have better lives for ourselves, for our families, and for the communities we live in. After 4 years together, it is honest to say that the cliches of law school have fallen away in the experience of the many acts of camaraderie, kindness, and of love that we have shown each other. We've been through thick and thin. Actually, forget thick and thin. We survived contracts and civil procedure. Plus the many nights over 4 years together, instead of watching TV and knowing what was going on in the world, we learned about constitutional law and corporations. Before my short time is up with you, I hope you remember one thing after this day has passed. Every day, every hour, and every minute, we have the opportunity and we have the choice to be and do the things that make us whole, to do the things that scare us, but the things that are right for us. However, a full life is also a life full of compromises. Don't be too hard on yourselves when life doesn't work out as planned. Other people can do that. When you stumble, there will still be time to regain your footing and pursue your goals. The world we've lived in during our time at McGeorge, it's really not a normal world. Sleep deprivation, isolation from our friends and family, endless work. Then we make it worse with the bar. It's not really sustainable. And Professor J. Clark Kelso Jr. knows something about this next part. It's as if we've been in a prison. And we're going from the general prison population into solitary confinement right before they turn us loose on society. We have to figure out on our own terms how to reintegrate into that normal society again. This is to mean spending time with family, rebuilding neglected relationships, or finding love. Whatever it means to you, there is no way to sustain this life from law school without doing to ourselves what we've seen done to those who continue to work hard but not take care of themselves. It's not all bad, though. Our stories during this time are really about resilience, fortitude, and courage. The rules for getting through such challenging times in our lives have pretty much been simple. Do our best. Try to be honest with ourselves and with others, and just be true to the things we care about. We all know what's behind us, but what comes next? We're at a crossroads in our life, but the world around us is also at a crossroads. How many of you have realized the role that fear plays in so many of our choices? The fear of the unknown, the fear of the worst case, the fear of failure, the fear of being alone. We can choose only to see the risks, the problems, or to dwell like a 24-hour news channel on all that is bad. That's not reality. To see the world like this would cause anyone to curl up in the fetal position. Look around, class of 2011. You've proven you have the courage to face down fear and to do what's hard. There are countless stories among our class about deep resilience. People raising children as single parents. People who've gotten married and had kids, overcoming the loss of a parent, not to mention the everyday struggles. Yet we strive continuously to better ourselves. We do not give in, nor do we give up. 78 million baby boomers are about to retire, which includes many of our loved ones here today. Our country isn't really prepared for this shift, but it's going to come regardless. This shift gives you and us incredible opportunities, but also incredible challenges. The parents of the baby boomers were known as the greatest generation. This is the generation that fought the economic collapse of the Great Depression and fought for freedom during World War II, then turned their energy towards building highways, universities, and worked toward a more perfect union. Many of us here are the grandchildren, literally, of the greatest generation, but figuratively, we're all their grandchildren. Just like them, we will be expected to rebuild this country, to stabilize it, to uphold the vibrant principles that inspired so many. And also like them, we don't have the luxury to have it handed to us. They were inspired by a vision of freedom not found in constitutional law textbooks, but one rooted deep in our psyche. And like Bob, I have a quote from President Roosevelt, but a different President Roosevelt. In 1941, in the midst of World War II, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt spoke about 4 essential human freedoms. One of those was the freedom from fear. Norman Rockwell depicted this freedom from fear concept. It was parents tucking their children into bed at night, a very powerful image. But it could easily be one of you sitting at a desk with books piled around you, plowing through them regardless of the hour, regardless of the task, to accomplish what you've done today, to stare down your fears. Well, fear can drive like an officious intermeddler on a bulldozer. So many of our decisions, let's take the keys away. Fear can make us unhappy, feel trapped. We can't accept this either. Remember all those incredible opportunities that await you. Being fear allows us to embrace our potential, to champion a principle-driven world. You might find yourself very far from a courtroom, far from a law firm with this degree, but you might be founding a new nonprofit. You might be running for office, running a major business, or teaching the next generation. Embrace it. Lawyers can and should do these things. You can and make your own fulfilling opportunities, just like our parents' generation did. As we leave here today, remember the evening division has given us a gift of time together. Though intense, it was sometimes fun, and even when it wasn't fun, it was rewarding. Look towards those around you, your fellow graduates, your family, your friends, for inspiration and support as we move on to this next phase. Now, however, for the most part, our paths will and must diverge. After resisting the tug and pull of the outside world, namely our friends and family, it's time to look forward. We have to remember, though, that they sacrificed along with us. This is a time not only to acknowledge their contributions to our shared success, but to tell them how much you love them. And okay, I thought I could resist, but if you look to your left and you look to your right, tell each other, we've made it to the top of the mountain with each other. Now let's climb down together. Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you, Steve. Representing the LLM class is Dr. Samir Alazawi, a member of the Iraqi Bar Association, recognized for his expertise in investment, commercial law, and procurement. His law degree, as well as degrees in electrical engineering and computer science, are all from the University of Baghdad. Dr. Alazawi.
Ladies and gentlemen, family, faculty, and my fellow classmates, before I begin, I would like to thank those professors who provided us with the professional and patient guidance that established a legal background to conduct our career in the future. To Dean Parker for her role to promote this institution so that it has become among the famous law schools in the country. To the international program staff, especially Eric McLean and Rachel Dabi, thank you for supporting the LLM students and helping us solving our problems. And to all the faculty, the most polite people I know, or the kindest people I know, it's a great honor to give this address. I came to the United States with my family from Iraq 2 years ago, and I have realized that I need additional education if I am going to be able to be a successful lawyer in the United States like I am in Iraq. I decided to enroll in the LLM program for that reason. I have checked for the best law school in the area and decided to join Pacific McGeorge, and I am glad that I took this decision. Today, I stand before you as a graduate. I find myself on this podium experiencing numerous warring emotions. and I am certain many of you here empathize with me on that point. I am filled with a great sense of happiness and accomplishment. My LLM colleagues and I came here from 22 different countries, and we have put much effort into being able to stand here today. It was by no means easy. Each of us, although we are lawyers in our own countries, had to learn a new way of studying the law, a new terminology, and a new legal system. And we have to do it in a language that is not our native tongue. There were many times when I thought I would not reach the finish line that is represented by this wonderful ceremony. But those struggles have only made this moment sweeter. McGeorge has become my second home, and I am sad to leave this wonderful experience. I have become as connected to the people of this school as I have to the building itself. It may sound sad to say that I will miss each and every one of you. However, for those of you who have become my friends over the course of this past year, this is not a goodbye, but only the beginning of a lifelong relationship. Of course, the comfort that I have attained at McGeorge makes this departure a rather anxious one. But with anxiety comes excitement. And the end of this journey signifies the start of a brand new one. As I leave behind the warmth that I have experienced at McGeorge to enter a vastly new and quite frightened experiment, which is the bar exam. So all my fears about what lies ahead are slightly tamed by the idea that I will at least come close to experiencing in my future what I have already experienced at McGeorge. To McGeorge School of Law, thanks and praise. To the Dean, Assistant Dean, and my professors, thank you for your efforts. To my fellow graduates, good fortune, make a difference in your coming life, and thank you all.
Thank you, Samir. We now turn to our principal order of business, the happy task of awarding Juris Doctor degrees to 313 candidates. And Masters of Law degrees to 27 candidates, as you have just heard, from 21 countries plus the United States. Marshals, please prepare the LLM candidates. This begins our graduation countdown. In the moments before our graduates officially become alums, I've asked Professor Thomas Main to convey congratulations on behalf of the faculty and administration. Both day and evening section graduates selected Tom as Professor of the Year, and I've persuaded him that his remarks, delivered when he accepted this award this past Thursday, bear repeating today. Professor Main.
Thank you. As we celebrate the commencement of these graduates into our noble profession, I want to remind each of you that because you are a lawyer, you will be a leader in your neighborhood association, your extended family, your club, your church, anywhere you go. Attorneys are leaders to whom people will look for advice and direction. Attorneys are leaders whether they desire that role or not. The question is not whether you're going to be a leader. The question is, where are you leading the people who are following you? So I encourage you to be conscious of this leadership role and deliberate about the values and ethics that you convey to others. Your identity, your values, your ethics, craft these consciously and deliberately so that you are leading folks to a place of which you are proud. Now, there are many indicators that suggest succeeding in this profession can be difficult. Success is not automatic. I think the key to success in our profession is good mentorship, because there is so much to juggle, so much to do, to learn, to resolve, to reconcile. How do we learn to do this? And I credit my success, my satisfaction, my abiding love of the law to my mentors. Because far more important than the location of your first job or the salary or the specialty or the setting, I think that you're most likely to succeed in this profession and be satisfied in this profession if you learn good habits and good judgment from a great mentor. So my first piece of advice was to be aware of your leadership role, and my second piece of advice is to command great mentorship. Now, how does one do that? You don't get great mentorship by simply asking for it. Instead, it's by demonstrating that you deserve it, that you are worth that mentor's time, that you are a good investment, that you are a great listener, that you want criticism, that you accept criticism, that you know you have so much to learn and are willing to do the hard work that that entails. Now, notice that all of those are matters that are entirely within your control. Unlike the many things that we can't control, we decide individually whether to listen, to adapt, to work harder than everyone else. This may be your employer or a potential employer, or it may be someone in the profession whom you admire. But whatever the source, I encourage you to find that mentor and earn their attention. The graduates of our law school are successful, ethical professionals. You will succeed even if the economy requires you to be patient. You will be ethical because you accept the tremendous responsibility of holding a card that indicates you are a member of your state's bar. And you'll be a professional because you will appreciate the tremendous privilege of being an attorney. So congratulations to each of you, and also to your families who celebrate with you this weekend. On behalf of all of your faculty colleagues, we are proud of your accomplishments, past and future. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Main. And now, President Ibeck, I present our candidates for the degrees of Masters of Law and Juris Doctor.
Upon recommendation of the faculty and by the authority vested in me by the Board of Regents of the University of the Pacific, I confer upon you the degree you have earned. Congratulations.
Presenting the candidates for the degree of Master of Laws in Transnational Business Practice. Haikanush Parsamyan. Ying Zhu. Anton Petrov. Thomas John Preston III. Shin Dong. Jagadish Babu Sharesta. Bandar Isid Al-Shamari. Diana Wunderlich. Kusigani Alidi. Matt Breerslow. Michaela Linder. Saud Aroweli. Inaharo Odion Ugbasia. Presenting the candidates for the degree of Master of Laws in Public Law and Policy. Samir Alazawi. Catalina Serbu. Lucia Levitt. Violetta Ebert. Farini Siddiqui Azar. Danielle Nicole Brown. Lawrence Manze. Presenting the candidates for the degree of Master of Laws in Experiential Law Teaching. Wei Shuan Yu. Xiaobing Liu. Tetiana Shamray. Svetoslav Tkachuk. Ladies and gentlemen, the Master of Laws class of 2011. President Ibeck, we now present to you the candidates for the degree of Juris Doctor, beginning with the valedictorians, upon whom you shall confer valedictorian medals, and those members of the class of 2011 selected by our Faculty Committee on Honors and Awards for special recognition. The valedictorian for the day division of the class of 2011 is Andrew R. Redner. The Order of the Coif with great distinction. There is a tie for the valedictorian for the evening division of the class of 2011. The first evening division valedictorian is Adam Cate. The Order of the Coif with great distinction. Mr. Cate is also recognized for outstanding scholarship and academic achievement with the Outstanding Graduating Senior Award. The second valedictorian for the evening division of the class of 2011 is Luinda Vaslu Lacey, the Order of the Coif, with great distinction. Ms. Lacey is also recognized for overall scholastic accomplishment with the Outstanding Scholastic Achievement Award. Recognized for outstanding scholarship and academic achievement with the Outstanding Graduating Senior Award for the day division, Max David Hellman, the Order of the Coif, with great distinction. Recognized by the committee for having overall scholastic accomplishment with the Outstanding Scholastic Achievement Award for the day division, Lauren A. Manning, the Order of the Coif, with great distinction. And Kristen Marie Weigel, the Order of the Coif, with great distinction. For the evening division, Scott Patrick Mallory, the Order of the Coif, with great distinction. Recognized by the committee for remarkable contributions to the McGeorge community with the Outstanding Student Achievement Award for the Day Division, Jessica Robin Lee, the Order of the Coif, with great distinction. And for the Evening Division, Mark A. Narveson, the Order of the Coif, with great distinction. Recognized by the committee for best representing a combination of scholarship and leadership with the American Law Institute American Bar Association Scholarship and Leadership Award for the Day Division, Nicole Elizabeth McQuillan, the Order of the Coif, with great distinction. And for the Evening Division, Gantry Chandler Griffin, the Order of the Coif, with great distinction. Finally, the Faculty Committee on Honors and Awards gives you the recipients of the Outstanding Student Service Award in recognition for the graduating seniors who have given the most significant service to the McGeorge community. For the Day Division, Catherine Ann Moriano and Robert Daniel Sweetin. For the Evening Division, Trevor Jeremy Michaels and James Paul Samut. Continuing with the JD class of 2011, Steve Robert Hansen, Ryan Cronin Prather, Corina Charlton, John Wesley Powell, the Order of the Coif, with great distinction, Marcus Aronson, Lauren Grace Knapp, the Order of the Coif, with great distinction, Whitney Kirsten McBride, the Order of the Coif, with great distinction, Lisa Mann, with distinction, Sydney Nevies Jones Christensen, with distinction, Corrine Louise Erickson, with great distinction, Bindu Varghese, Farid Sharabi, with distinction, Edmund Yan, with distinction, Christian Kelsey, Jesse Daniel Wilson, Catherine Mitchell, Diana Alvarado, Danielle Alexis Flores, Maria Connor, with distinction, Addison Marcy Kingsley, Alexander Stonehill Wortham, John Thackeray, with guest, Matthew Paul DeMora, with distinction, Ryan Thomas Alves, with distinction, Michael John Tucker, with distinction, Ann Caruana, with distinction, Alex Harold, Ryan James Burris, Peter John Boruso. Steve Kelly. Michael Thomas Mooney with distinction. Eric Callaghan Papathakis, Order of the Coif with great distinction. Gina Lee. Travis Allen Brooks, the Order of the Coif with great distinction. Adam Claire Guernsey, the Order of the Coif with great distinction. Peter Schenken. Jean-Michel Lecointe with distinction. Gregory Hugh Morrison, the Order of the Coif with great distinction. Christine Harlan. Stephanie Lynn Jakovac. Amy Elizabeth Byrne with guest. Joshua Eugene Brown. Michael Ware Erkey. Stephen Dixon Red. Jesse Ryan Saucedo. Matthew Christian Taylor with Charlie Taylor with distinction. Keir James Brubaker Wilkinson. Michael Stanley Alfano. William Andrew Kelly. Shandeep Waheed. Garrett Murphy Sivian. Robert Wong, the Order of the Coif, with great distinction. Ben Faithy. Joseph T. Todoroff II. Sami Goal, with distinction advocacy certificate. Nadia Dominique Mahalati, with distinction. Kim Martin Bowman, Jr. David Anthony Magnan, with distinction. Zachary Lopes. Anthony Thomas Balestreri. Jeremy Benjamin Nam. Eric Alcantara. Karen Iko Horiuchi. Sarang Shirazi. Danielle Maureen Iturbi, with distinction. Christina Barbara Johnson. Joseph Timothy Speaker, with distinction. Amy Ray Gowan. Jennifer Jean McHugh, Order of the Coif, with great distinction. Jamie Lynn Garrett, with distinction. Rebecca Mi-Young-hee Choi. Barbara Lorraine Louis Cardinal. Laura Lee Grievous, with Kobe Hannon Danielle Grievous. Diana Perez. Joy Giselle Cadiz. Lauren Brooke Hemmen, with distinction. Savannah Sosikian, with distinction. Michael Joseph Waldron. Sean Patrick Hoffman, with distinction. Justin Christopher Dela Cruz, with distinction. Matthew Spike Robinson. Andrea Bergat Dupre. Carolyn Lindsay Gemma. Lauren Davis. Christina Vere Miller. Joshua Andrew Birdsill. Catherine Rue Chi, with distinction. Sarah Ann Chestine. Crystal Louise Collins, with distinction. Angie Palmerin. David E. Snap, with distinction. Brett Evan Gowen, with distinction. Nathan Murray Hodges. Sean Michael O'Connell. Mark Tracy Koo, accompanied by Rachel Koo. Martin K. Williams. Kenneth Nason. David Eugene Cameron, the Order of the Coif, with great distinction. Tyson Michael Page, with Daniel and Sean, the Order of the Coif, with great distinction. Leah Angelina McElhatton, with distinction. Peter Gregory Thyberg, with distinction. Haley Holm. Dylan Michael Kiefer, with distinction. Lance Daniel Gibson. Joseph Nathaniel Atkins, with Elizabeth, Natalie, and Nathaniel, with distinction. Colin Michael Scott. Kent Lee Bradbury, the Order of the Coif, with great distinction. Elizabeth Ann Leet Jackson, with distinction. Crystal Lee Kelly, with distinction. Matthew Walter Cruz, accompanied by Elias Cruz. Kimberly Harrison. Catherine Houle. Anna Christine Lewis Buck. Crystal Alexis McCain, with distinction. Rachel Ann Taylor, with distinction. Megan Lee Rowell. Catherine Rebecca Erbert, with distinction. Asami Jennifer Kishimizu, with distinction. Ciara Star Baldini. April Matzinger Flores. Araceli Ontiveros Venegas. Damian Matthew Siebold. Justin W. Chong. Raheel M. Hyatt. Nicholas T. Chan. Brian Anthony Lopez. Peter Kyung. Tatiana Filipova. Sarah Lee Nyber. Thank you. John Millard Humphrey. Julian Cho. Justin James Keys, with distinction and guest. Justin Douglas Sweeney, with guests. Sean Matthew George, Advocacy Certificate. Leighton A. Burry, with Kennedy Simone Burry. Jasmine Jamil Turner Bond. Tiffany Johnson, Advocacy Certificate. Jamie Michelle Williams. Ashley Lavon Hines. Carmen Nicole Cox, with great distinction. Heather Marie Thomas, with distinction. Bianca Shalita Watts, accompanied by Jackson Miller, with distinction. Matthew Pinkerton, with distinction. Mingwei Chu. Ashley Alexandra Stanfield. Yekaterina Abarbachuk, with distinction. Catherine Virginia Nystrom, with distinction. Nicole Michelle Shaker. Kylie Amanda Wexler, with distinction. Katie Ann Oldham. Matthew William Fleming, with distinction. Eric Robert Brenneman, with distinction. Brian Adam Siegel. Alexander Ziesman. Eugene Vanitsky. Jane Hu. James Banyai. Andrew Raymond Miller. Brian R. Pyle with distinction. Eric Thomas Martinez, the Order of the Coif with great distinction. Gregory Wayland. Layla Z. Miranova. Corey Valerie Hilton with distinction. Angelique Marlene Huttonhill. Jackie Fu. Ann Nguyen. Jessica Marie Neal with distinction. Jason Andrew Rifkin with distinction. Brandon Philip Mark with distinction. Sergio Avila. Christopher Douglas Hallen. Stephanie Maria Alamo Latif. Sandra Ann McEwen, International Certificate and Government Certificate. Harjeet Kaur Graywall. Kieran Thiara. Barbara Edelyn McPherson Moore, accompanied by Nathan. Catherine Elisa Gabrielle Stevens. Elizabeth Tange. Rochelle Gail Vandy Pohl with distinction. Diana Shaw. Brian Shaw. Alicia Mussolino. Lauren Mailer Clark. Anne Michelle Grace Hart. Andrielle Anderson. Christina Faye Jackson with distinction. Carl William Ferreira with distinction. Jonathan Amir Durham with distinction. Matthew Clyde Vance with great distinction. Ryan Jeffrey Yates. Charles John Grotewall. Diane Emily Cotternese with distinction. Melissa Ann Miranda. Marzad Kazampour. Ashley Marie Leslie with distinction. Tyson Hansen Fair. Let's go again. Tyler Hansen Fair with distinction. David Nam. Matthew James Prigmore. Jessica Ann Warren with distinction. Stephanie Wellens Holtz. Marla Elise Kurtz. Mallory Lass with distinction. Caitlin Yuri Christian with distinction. Leanne Renee Carroll with distinction. Rosalind Dawn Olson with distinction. Kathleen Mary Donnellan Mayer with distinction. Adriana Zoe Badillas. Kara Ann Treadway with distinction. Dylan Perry Hyatt with distinction. Matthew Allen Hornbuckle with distinction. Miriam Ali Elamshawi, accompanied by Mustafa and Yasmin and Layla. Shelley Marie Strail. Heather Melinda O'Donnelly, accompanied by Alexander, Isabella, and Ava. Amanda Danielle Berger. Rajwinder Sandhu, International Certificate. Dulce Song. Christine Koo. Fatima Iqbal. Michelle Ann Cavallari with distinction. Natalia Vidigoska. Sandra Grishop Matthews, the Order of the Coif with great distinction. Bahara Bar Hosseini. Alex Thompson with distinction. Jason Olson. Jeanette Yvonne Orozco. Sir Trevor Edward Carson. James Ryan Cogdill with distinction. Gregory Michael Hines with distinction. Paloma A. Clark. Brandon Aram Esraelian with distinction. Marilee Bretternitz. Jamie Lynn Walker with distinction. Michael Adam Wiebel with distinction. Christopher Alexander Lane Jessup with distinction. Jeffrey Daniel Morgan with distinction, International Certificate. Sharon E. Guerreri with distinction. Jennifer Michelle Kate. Ryan Patrick Coyne. Daniela Natasha Lopez Garcia. Aaron Christopher Goff, Advocacy Certificate. Carrie Christina Stafford with distinction. Tanya Smith with distinction. Benjamin Joseph Levy with great distinction. Christopher Blem. Jessica Nadine Asfour, the Order of the Coif, with great distinction. Jocelyn Neary Blinn, accompanied by Theo and Emma, with distinction. Nathan William Ganong, the Order of the Coif, with great distinction. Dustin Cody Bankston, with distinction. Justin P. Rodriguez, with distinction. William Jerome Sandbrink, with distinction. Sandy Jill Dalia, with distinction. Rebecca Lee Whitfield, with distinction. Sarah Christine Shabata, the Order of the Coif, with great distinction. Christy Van Stel McMack. Michael Kingdon Claiborne, the Order of the Coif, with great distinction. Anoop Baradwach, the Order of the Coif, with great distinction. Daniel Pratt DeCecco, with distinction. Lauren Vithen Caldwell. Elizabeth Catherine Newton, with distinction. Amanda Louise Allen, with distinction. Scott Edward Radcliffe. Daniel Jacob Ogden, and accompanied by Elijah, with distinction. Ariel Natalia Volante Gabbert, with distinction. Sharon Lynette Horner. Ladies and gentlemen, the Juris Doctor degree class of 2011.
Well, it's a great day, but it's not quite over yet. On behalf of the class of 2011 faculty and staff, I hope everyone will join us for a reception back at the law school campus immediately following the ceremony. I look forward to greeting each of you then. And now, to conclude our ceremony, I'll ask Minister Tisdale to pronounce the benediction. Following the benediction, I'd ask that you remain in your seats until the graduating class has processed out of the auditorium.
You're all beautiful, very, very beautiful. What an honor and a joy to be before you this afternoon. As we close in prayer, remembering what this day truly represents, let us bow and close our eyes. Our Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. It is my request that you have blessed this graduating class. Thank you for the vision and inspiration to allow opportunities and dreams to come true. May these graduates serve and impact the community with integrity and honor. May each decision exalt truth and wisdom, and may they always consider the depth of blessings to those who lives they represent and touch individually and collectively. We thank you for your support. We thank the family and faithful friends and diligent mentors. We give thanks and respect to the faculty and staff who nurtured, empowered, and dedicated their lives to the highest education of leadership. Go in peace with grace. cherishing the loving and thoughtful words that have been spoken here upon you today. And finally, Heavenly Father, we thank you for your presence, and may you be pleased with what was done this afternoon. We offer this prayer unto you. We ask it in your name. Amen.